Murtala. What do you make? What's your intel? I mean, on such conversations, usually I would have Mahama Yariga also, because of where he is legislator for, speak to the issues. But what do you know about what happened, and what's your reaction?
Well, good morning, and good morning to my kid brother, Dr. Kabiru, and good morning to your cherished viewers, and most importantly, the good people of Tamale Central. First and foremost, it is amazing that Dr. Kabiru, he preceded his comments on the fact that he doesn't have concrete information as to what actually happened, because he said that one school of thought says that the vehicle was bent, another school of thought says...
I can't remember seeing that.
No, you said that. You said that.
Well, you did say that you did not have the full complement
that's what I said.
Of what had happened.
I haven't said anything. That, and he went ahead to talk about the fact that one school of thought, the fact that you say one school of thought says this, another school of thought says this, it means that there are conflicting statements and positions.
But in the end, he landed on the fact that whatever may have happened,
I'm coming to
the
that.
brutality meted about by the military.
If you give me a second, I'm coming to that. Now, so when you make such statement, that's a fair position to take.
Right.
But he concluded as if he knew what actually happened. And I would urge him to watch the video, the clip again. He concluded as if he knew what actually happened. Look, everybody will condemn whatever any security forces does in a democracy. And I join you in condemning the action of the military officers. But your own statement suggests that the gentleman or the commander, I mean, I trust your word, the commander himself was not there. So how did he conclude that the people didn't have any intel, they just went there and started beating people?
Well, he says the commander was apologetic for the actions of his boys.
I agree. The commander could be apologetic, and he ought to be apologetic, because going to beat people is unacceptable in a democracy. But I'm saying that on the matter, like the Gombes have a popular saying, the squatting is just like seeing. On the matter of the burning of the vehicle, and myself and he were having a conversation. People can conclude because of the previous incidences. I didn't hear Dr. Kabiru condemn it with the knack and vigor with which he is condemning this particular action. You know, if you wanted us to know that you be fair in your analysis of this issue, one would have indeed been happy that, oh, Dr. Kabiru on TV condemned the previous attacks and burning of vehicles. Look,
shouldn't we be sticking to what is happening?
What is happening? There was no because a legislator.
Look, sometimes we like going too far into the past. Actually, one thing I note from where I am, while the history is important, if we are going to resolve some of these crises, we need to move forward.
You have just said.
We need to move forward.
You have just said. You brought him on this program because he's the MP there. And you have also said that ideally you would have had Honorable Mahama Yarga on this program. So don't tell me that we shouldn't be talking about things that happen.
I'm not saying
no, please.
I'm not saying don't. Please. I'm merely saying that sometimes the equalizations become problematic.
If you would allow me to just flow. I mean, it's suggestive. And I'm not condemning his condemnation of the military. I would join him to condemn not just the military, any security agencies who engage in that. It has no place in democracy. But you see, and I'll tell you one very important thing. When you interviewed Doctor online,
Dr.
Doki, and then you asked him whether President Mahama, he thinks that President Mahama will be able to find solution to these challenges.
On the back of the signals so far.
Signals that we have had. His comments were extremely positive. And I'll tell you one thing. I have been a victim of such conflict before. As a Dogomba, I live in Dagbang, and I still remember the effects of the Dagbang conflicts on families. Families were torn apart. Marriages collapsed. Friends became foes. People who had everything in common became very enemies. I have seen that. And let me also state, when I was doing my second degree at Lesiad, my thesis was actually on conflict and its effects on socioeconomic development in the West African sub-region. And I've had the opportunity to have traveled to Liberia and Sierra Leone for my data collection. It is shocking when we interview people who have been victims of such conflicts, the harrowing stories, the psychological trauma that people go through, and we see a replica of same in the Dagbang crisis and also in the Bawku crisis. I am aware that around even the Nairi, you have Kusasis around him. Now, if you listen to the gentleman who was interviewed, I guess by your station, I was shocked that he brought in this idea of if you attack us, if the military, you do this thing to us, I'll also see a Kusasi man and attack. It doesn't augur well for the peace that we are all looking for. President Mahama has demonstrated by his first appointment of regional ministers that this is a man who means well, and he's on the path by Allah's will, finding solution to this protracted problem in Bawku. Look, if President Mahama had appointed, for example, a Mamprisi man as the regional minister for Upper East, or a Kusasi man as regional minister for Upper East, there would have been some concerns. But
which is what I brought to the attention of...
Exactly. So he appointed someone who is entirely different, who neither belongs to this feuding, if you like, tribes in the matter of the Bawku. And for me, that is a signal. President Mahama also has a goodwill, to tell you the truth. The fact that that is his first visit after he was sworn in outside Accra. It means that it is so dear to him, someone who grew up in the north, mind you, before we had this creation of regions, they were all northern region. And this was the time President Mahama was given birth to in that region. He had his education in northern region. And someone who is of tremendous concern. I would urge that, look, the only people who can ensure that there is peace, despite what government will do, is the people themselves. And you know why? There is profound political intrusion in the conflicts, in almost all chieftaincy conflicts we have in the northern part of the country. You can trace the Dagbang crisis to pre-colonial era. You trace it to the First Republic, the Second Republic, Third, and perhaps the Fourth Republic. You can trace the Bawku crisis to the First Republic, Second Republic, Third Republic, and perhaps the Fourth Republic. It has always been so. Until such a time, the people themselves realize that at no point in time can any political party serve my individual and peculiar, interest in a conflict such as this, except that we must be prepared. Look, Kingsley, if government decides that we want Benjamin, if government decides to find a solution to this, it is a process. Now, any political party that wins an election, my experience and my observation in the conflicts in northern part of the country, either one tribe aligns itself with one political party or the other. So anytime at all our political party is in power, we must flex our muscle. Sometimes not at the beheads of the political party for which we associate ourselves with. Sometimes they do so because they think that our political party is in power, and we experience this. Look, I'll tell you one thing. Even in finding solution to some of this, the over-politicizations of the actions of the political elite, for me, it is legendary. And I give example to the Dagbang crisis. We are all aware that when the unfortunate incident happened, it preceded the two successive presidents. It happened under President Kufuor. Eminent chiefs were brought to support, despite the fact that some of us condemned the MPP administration under President Kufuor for what happened in Dagbang. Yes, but I'm saying that I'm looking at the political elite here. But we also do know that there were some steps that were taken to ensure that we had lasting peace. From President Kufuor, President Mills continued, and tremendous work was done. After President Mills, President Mahama, I am aware the kinds of things President Mahama did in ensuring that we finally have peace. But it was concluded under President Nana Addo. But at no point in time has President Nana Addo in his tenure, even in his last SONA, did he ever give credit to anybody for ensuring that there was finally lasting peace in Dagbang? He credited himself for everything.
Well, the most important thing in the end is that there's peace. I agree with you that commendation is fair. But the most important thing in the end that there's peace.
I'm looking at, you see, when you interviewed Doctor, and I believe that you interviewed several guests, and who have all concluded that there has always been political, if you like, infiltration in the chieftaincy disputes we have. Right. Until such a time, we have the capacity and the willingness as the political elite to know that, look, we can do politics, but let us not venture when it comes to some of these things. And it takes the people themselves.
Okay.
I have traveled to Bawku, and I can tell you, Bawku used to be a very serious commercial town, and those of us who lived in the northern part of the country, if you needed the best jeans and others, you could get it in Bawku. Today, it has virtually become a ghost town.
And those are the very things that we're trying to resolve, because in the past, people have spoken about how even commerce has been impacted. You remember even in the northern part of the Uti region, right? when there were some skirmishes there and there was a curfew. Just over a little period, people were complaining about how it was impacting business. And some youth in the communities were even leaving. Now think about Bawku, which has had this for such a protracted length of time. But Dr. Mahama, coming to you.
Allow me to just make this point. It's very important. On the matter of the seriousness and the willingness of President Mahama to find lasting peace in Bawku. Bawku shares virtually boundaries with Burkina. Go from Bawku, you can easily go to Burkina Sankansi. And then if you go through Paga. Now, the fact that President Mahama has an outstanding relationship with the president or the military leader of Burkina, for me, it is a huge contributory factor in ensuring that we have. If you know the ethnic dynamics of the people in Bawku vis-a-vis those who live.
I know where you're going.
Those who live in Burkina, and he knows. Intertwined, both Kusasi and Kusasi. Yes, and they trace their root to one great-grandfather. Now, if you have a relationship, a hostile attitude towards a president of Burkina, as we had under President Nanado, it was also not going to contribute positively towards, ensuring that we have some. So I think that it is also another additional factor in ensuring that we have peace in Bawku.
In the end,